Hey everybody, we're back with Kosa Sports Den. I'm Anthony, also known as Kosa, and I have Ryan again. He's
How you
like
doing?
the best. Um,
I'm glad to be back. What a hell of a year, man. Hell of a year.
Honestly, I've watched less football this year than I have in years past, but um, every week has another big headline, whether it's a Tua concussion or the
You had to throw
Jets,
that in there right there, didn't
the
you?
Jets
Yeah.
choking. The
Yeah,
Damar
I
Hamlin
hey,
thing is
didn't
crazy.
didn't didn't I call it? I told you the Jets would choke.
Yeah, you
I
did.
said it in
You
our
absolutely did.
mid-year review. I told you. I
Yeah.
told you.
Um, I did notice though, I was looking at the team stats. The points per game dropped so much after Brees Hall got hurt,
Yeah, I saw that. They were like 2-7 when he got here. And he was a huge part of their offense.
which is crazy. That
Um,
that was my pick for rookie of the year, and then it was Christian Watson. Um,
Christian Watson's been
he
balling the
he
last
turned up in the
half of the
second
year.
half.
He did. He
Um,
did.
but yeah, the regular season has come and gone in the blink of an eye almost, and playoffs are here now, and that's exciting, but a lot of things have unfolded before we get into the playoffs. So I have a list of coaches who've been fired. Arizona Cardinals Cliff Kingsbury is now fired, which is crazy because they just gave him, I don't
They
remember,
just
was it
re-
5 year
they just
extension?
re-signed him last year. Yeah, they just like him and Kyler got re-signed within a
So
year of each other.
if something doesn't, like, if that doesn't spell this organization is trash right now, I'm not really sure what does. Then you had Lovey Smith, who is kind of a scapegoat, I guess. The
Yeah.
Texans team doesn't have much to work with. Kudos to him for ruining the first round pick. That was pretty cool.
Yo, I guarantee you he knew he was gone. He was like, you know what? Screw him.
Yeah, it was a big fuck you,
Right.
and I'm not opposed to it. Although Lovey, I just think his coaching philosophies may be a little outdated
Yeah.
because he did a lot of great things with the Bears. Then he came to the Bucks, and I feel like that was outdated at that point.
Hmm.
I didn't pay too much attention to, the schemes they were running in Houston, but if there's anything similar to the Bucks, like that base cover two can only do so much these days.
Yeah. The
Everybody's
Tampa
way too
2.
fast.
Yep. That Tampa 2 is definitely not what it used to be.
Yeah, and it's like a soft coverage, and
Hmm.
you're forced to make tackles in space.
Right.
It's so much harder these days. Nathaniel Hackett for the Denver Broncos. Um, I did pick them to do quite a bit. I was wrong. I also picked the Colts. I think I was also wrong about that. But Russ did cook a little bit after Hackett was gone. He looked a little better. I'm not going to say he looked like, return to form MVP candidate
Right.
Russ, but he did look a little better. Better. Makes me wonder what kind of offensive philosophy Nathaniel Hackett had. Probably went
Let
out
me
there with
start.
the Pop Warner playbook.
The only thing I have to say about Russ is one of my favorite parts of this whole entire year are the Russell Westbrook memes, or not Russell Westbrook. I'm sorry, Russell Wilson memes.
Yeah.
The Russ is cooking, and then when they
Did
show
I
the
say
picture, and it's
Westbrook
like,
too? I might have.
no, you said Wilson. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure you said Wilson, but the Russ memes have just been blowing. Still to this day, it gets me a great laugh. So, oh
Frank
man,
Reich obviously is out of there.
hmm.
Jeff Saturday's in. Jeff Saturday did okay.
For what
Um,
he had there, I mean,
yeah. Matt Ryan. Oh my God. I thought he was going to be an upgrade. I was
I
wrong.
thought he was gonna bounce back and have a good year, but I was wrong about that for sure.
And then a little earlier was Matt Rule,
Right.
who he was, I don't know. I didn't expect him to be that bad.
I don't think they had a lot going into this year. Um, they need a quarterback. They need they really just need a rebuild on that offensive side. And that's what they're doing. They got rid of McCaffrey and um,
Their run game looked good without him.
yeah, which
Chuba Hubbard and
right,
Deontay Foreman did really well.
right.
Um,
And they got DJ Moore there still.
he
It's just they need to
torches the
find
Bucks every time. Uh,
they just need to find a quarterback.
a quarterback's all they need. Even a game manager, if their run game can be that consistent, and they just have a quarterback who can, complete some third downs and make a big couple splash plays here or there, and
Yeah.
just kind of not turn the ball over. I like their defense. Their defense is really fast and athletic. Brian Burns is a
Yeah.
beast. Um, the
Burns is
Pan-
awesome.
I think the Panthers are in the best position to like lead the NFC South in the next couple years, just because they're not old. The Bucks are very old. The Saints are pretty old. Uh,
Mm. The Bucks are going to go through a huge once Brady leaves. The Bucks are have a rebuild on their hands.
yeah, thank God. It's
It's
time. It was time last year, but we'll see what
hey,
happens. I may
right.
eat my words. I'm a little pessimistic about it. Um, I don't even know how Tom Brady stats look as good as they do, but every Bucks game was a snooze fest.
Hey, but if anyone can get hot in this time of year, it's number 12.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I mean, no matter what happened in the regular season, it's a one game season now. Everything's out the window and you're playing for your life. And who's better when his back's against the wall than Tom Brady? So you guys will always have a chance with that guy on the field.
Yeah, man. We're blessed to have Brady, and he brought a bowl here and everything, but he's not the same. He's not the
No,
same.
no, he's
Uh,
not. And you can see it's starting to
Father Time
finally have a drop.
finally
Right.
caught his ass.
Yep.
Um, I think I just want to mention real quick. I think there's one more coach that's on the hot seat, even though they made the playoffs, and that is the Chargers coach.
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, Staley. They've
I think he
underachieved
may
way too much
yeah,
for what they
I
have.
think if they have a shot at like a Sean Payton, I can see them kind of biting the bullet there. But realistically, who's out there right now? I feel like the names that I've seen for interviews have just not been impressive to me. Um, I feel like at this point, I would probably, unless I'm going for like a Harbaugh or
Yeah,
a
that's what I was going
Sean
to bring up.
Payton,
That's what I was going to bring up.
I'm not getting rid of. I wouldn't get rid of Brandon Staley.
I think a
I
change in culture might benefit the Chargers as well. You could bring in somebody like Raheem Morris, who's matured as a coach in Vegas now, I guess, or LA Rams.
LA, yeah, LA.
Um, I think him, and then you have the Lions offensive coordinator who might be available for a head coaching gig
Yeah,
here
he's
soon.
gotten a couple interviews.
Oh, has he?
Yeah,
That's cool.
he's which I
I
mean their
told
off.
everybody about golf. I was
Yeah,
wrong about a lot of
yes.
shit, but
Goff had a good year, a bounce back year.
I'm happy for
If
him.
Geno Smith didn't have the season that he had, Goff could have won that comeback player of
Crazy
the year.
story, by the way. Geno Smith was crazy.
Right. Awesome. Good for him. Good for him. I'm actually legitimately happy
He humbled
for Geno
himself
Smith.
over the years, and it's really
Yeah.
nice to see that growth.
Right. Yes. 100%.
Unfortunately for Tua, he has some decisions to face this offseason.
Yeah.
While he was on all cylinders, the Dolphins offense looked unbeatable, really. You either have to outscore them or get a couple lucky stops, maybe a fumble.
Right.
Um, but those concussions, those head injuries started piling up. And, what is it, three or four? Three, arguably four.
So it's two that are diagnosed. You can make a case for it in the Bills game, the one where he came back. You so the most has been three this
Okay,
year.
three.
Two diagnosed. The I mean, it was pretty evident that that probably was a concussion. I'm not a doctor, but I mean, just what it looks like. Probably three in 1 year.
Yeah, and
It's a
that's
lot.
tough.
It's tough, and I was going through surprises or like my surprises and my disappointments, and one of my biggest disappointments was the way Miami finished. And yes, that 8-3, controlling your own destiny. At least Buffalo is probably going to win the division, but at least controlling to where you had the number one spot as far as the um what's that spot called? The lost my train of thought. Not the division winners, but the
Conference.
no, the wild card spots. The wild card spots. Um I'm just very disappointed how they finished. And Tua did get the concussion in Green Bay, but in December down the stretch, he went 0 for 4, and we did not look good with him in the lineup. Um,
Do you think that any of that was like lingering from just like,
I don't because I mean, when he came back from the concussion, he won 5 straight. I
okay,
think he's always had a problem in December. He's always had a problem with when the big game comes, putting my foot down and winning the game, gritting it out. He's always struggled in those big time situations, and he still has not shown it in December when it matters. He's a September, October, November quarterback. His record's great, but in December, it hasn't been there. And now Miami's faced with the decision, and Tua really, as a not just a player but a man, is faced with the decision what's going to be best for him moving forward. And it's going to be a hard decision, but there's some moves out there that you can make if you're Miami.
Lamar?
Well, I will say this. I you know me, I'm a huge Dolphins fan. I read pretty much any article that comes out about them. And I read something like a year ago or a couple years ago, it came out. Our owner, Stephen Ross, the year that Lamar Jackson was coming out of the draft, was in love with Lamar Jackson. The GM at the time, we were picking like 11th. It was the year that the Bucks drafted Vita Vea.
Okay.
And we drafted Minka Fitzpatrick that year. The GM was in love with Minka. Owner wanted Lamar Jackson, and the GM won out. We drafted Minka Fitzpatrick,
That's
but the
tough.
owner is
Minka is a dog, but
he is a dog. But Lamar Jackson, I mean, when you have an opportunity to get a franchise quarterback, now
agreed.
we didn't know Lamar would be. He was a project. We didn't know what he was going to an MVP winner and all that kind of things. But watch out for Miami is all I'm going to say when it comes to Lamar Jackson. This owner wants to win now with the tampering with Tom Brady and all that. Don't be surprised if Miami makes a move at quarterback.
And to the surprises and disappointments, what are some of the disappointing
Um,
things?
Disappointments. Obviously we kind of talked about it. Russell Wilson in the Broncos. I thought Russ was going to be in a good position with those receivers that he had over there, the defense that Denver has. I just don't think the Hackett and Russell Wilson was a good mix. That was evident.
Agreed.
Russ was, I don't know if Russ was in his own head or if like the social media and all that got to his head. He had to put up some persona. I don't know really what it
He looked
was,
like a
but
puppet. It was crazy.
he really did. It was almost like he was just strange. It was just a very strange situation that year. So that was one of my biggest ones. And another one, besides the Dolphins' downfall, which was a personal one, was
Right.
the LA Rams. I was very disappointed with the Rams. The worst record coming off a Super Bowl winner. I'm pretty sure I saw that stat somewhere. Um, 5-12. Like that's very disappointing with the talent that they had. It just seems like the team quit. McVay quit. Everybody just quit. Once Stafford got hurt. So that's very disappointing. I thought they were going to be a top team, especially adding Bobby Wagner and some pieces in the offseason.
So two of my disappointments, I'm not going to take it too serious. Gardner Minshew didn't make the best of his opportunities, and that destroyed me. I wanted it so bad for him.
I know you're a Minshew stan.
Yeah. Now I will say the offense is definitely not catered to his strengths, but
Right.
you get the opportunity, you have to make the most of it. I don't believe that he did, and I believe he's very disappointed in himself. Um, and then my second disappointment is that my favorite draft prospect in years just he blew his ACL, and I wanted Breece Hall to be everything. I wanted Breece Hall to be like, Saquon level of rookie year, and he could have. He was on his way.
He was going
He,
to
he
be.
was
Yep.
having some really good games, and then just caught a flat tire, and that disappointed me a lot. A couple things that really, really surprised me this year were all the injuries. I feel like, especially to the quarterback position, this year has been
Right.
crazy. We touched on Tua. Lamar missed some time. Deshaun Watson wasn't injured, but he was suspended like 12 games, and he just came back. So the quarterbacks this year
Yeah.
it was a wild, wild ride.
Right. Tom
Um,
Brady moment.
and listen. I know we spoke about it off camera, but the Dolphins have so many guys that can just any given play,
Yes.
and that's so important in the playoffs.
I'm running Wildcat 50% of the time. Tyreek is going to be my quarterback. Waddle is going to be the motion man. And good luck stopping that. I'm
Yeah.
throwing everything. I'm doing
Is
triple
Mostert
options.
still
I'm
hurt?
doing Moster's hurt, but they haven't ruled him out yet. We still have
Okay.
Wilson,
Because that's another guy
another
that
running
could
back.
take it.
We have this third string running back, Ahmed, 4.340 speed. Just get these guys with speed out in the perimeter. Give them the football. Give them the ball. You don't have anything to lose. Might as well just throw your kitchen sink out there and just see what sticks. Triple options. Run the option. Run Tyreek. Wildcat. Just do things that just a screw it moment. You're not gonna have Skylar Thompson drop back 35 times. I'm sorry. It's just not. That's not in the cards for us. So it is what it
Um,
is.
my other surprise I would like to touch on is I'm surprised at how disappointing Malik Willis was when he was given his opportunities. That was some hard football to watch. It was god
Yeah,
awful,
he was not
and
ready at all.
mm-mm.
Well,
And
our initial show, remember, I said Malik Willis would see the field, and that was a bad prediction because that was
well, he saw it.
ugly.
He
Yeah.
just he just didn't make the most of it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't like to see the young quarterbacks come in and fail, but
Right.
on the flip side, surprisingly good is Brock Purdy.
You hit one of my surprises.
Yeah, he's to be fair, he's got everything you could ever want as a quarterback. You have a damn near elite defense, which already makes your life easier. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have Christian McCaffrey, who is just a mismatch out of the backfield for anybody. You have Brandon Ayuk, who is a really good route runner. I didn't know until I watched a little bit. Debo Samuel. You just have all of these crazy weapons,
An offensive line
good offensive line, and George Kittle, who had a really good like last 5 or 6 games.
claim on it.
Um,
And he also has one hell of a system with Shanahan, very quarterback friendly, an easy scheme to run in regards to like a seventh round rookie quarterback just coming in and being lights out too.
so I don't really talk about the sports cards much, but I will say his rookie cards right now are absurd. His rookie
I'm
cards
sure.
are like probably on the same tier as like Trevor Lawrence rookie cards, and
Wow.
it's just all off of hype.
So what
And
happens to Trey Lance?
unfortunately, you mean like his value on the cards or just in
No,
general?
I'm just saying in general.
If Brock Purdy gives you some successful playoff games, I don't think there's a single. I don't see how you don't start Brock Purdy next year.
Yeah.
I know you gave up so much for Trey Lance, and it would be a big mistake if you don't start Trey Lance and yada yada yada. But come on, man, this kid is balling. You can't. So let's just say you Trey Lance comes back and then you give Trey Lance a starting job again. And now what do you do with Brock Purdy?
Right.
Trey Lance, if he gets hurt again or he's struggling, you think Brock Purdy's going to want to come in and perform as good as he's doing right now? You gotta. Sometimes you can't really take the car off the road. Man, you just gotta let it ride. I think
Imagine
that's
if
a perfect example.
imagine if New England back all those years when Bledsoe, remember they paid Bledsoe,
Mhm.
got hurt, Brady came in. Imagine,
If they put Bledsoe
at
back
the end
in,
of the year they were like, well, we paid Bledsoe all this money. We have to start him.
yeah.
I mean, you never know. And like look what Brady became. So in those situations, you got to ride what playing well
Didn't the
and you
Jets do the same stupid shit?
with
Like
who?
Zach Wilson got hurt, he came back and he started playing again,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they tried to switch
But
back again.
right when Mike White was playing good.
Yeah, and they fucked everything up.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
hate
So
that. If you're winning games, keep it the same way.
right.
That's my philosophy. Always will be.
Until
Uh,
now if Brock Purdy struggles in the playoffs, we'll see because playoffs is a whole different beast.
it is.
So we'll see. This will be a good telltale sign.
I think
I
that Brock Purdy has to be the reason they lose in order for him to not get the nod next year. If he's doing
Yeah.
a good job at doing, game management, and some guys are dropping passes, or um, the defense just happens to give up a couple fluke plays and they lose in the first round or Yeah, the first round. I don't think that they'll blame Purdy, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. It's a cool thing. So many quarterbacks are injured going into these playoffs.
Yep.
Or
Agreed.
so let's go ahead and get into that. Was there any more surprise? Did you
Um, we kind of mentioned it. The Seattle Seahawks, that was a big
okay?
surprise. Him and Geno Smith. I thought they were going to be dog water, but they were actually a very good, solid football team. They got into the playoffs. Good for them. Happy for Geno. And the only other thing is the play of Jalen Hurts. I thought he was going to be decent this year with their weapons, but I didn't think he would be on an MVP level.
MVP level, yeah. He has been surprising. He was on my fantasy team. Yes. Even though I lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not talking about fantasy this year. That's down year.
So we each made our own playoff bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go all the way through, or do you want to just go game by game?
Do you want to hit like round by round, like we hit the wild cards?
Yeah. We can do
We'll
that.
say, yeah, we can. We'll just do that.
So who do you have winning in the divisional or the wild card round of the AFC?
All right, so super wild card weekend, as the NFL likes to say it now.
They
So
hype
lame.
everything up. Is that our
Oh my
problem?
god.
We don't get you know, we're not exuberant when we speak. Maybe if we were, we would get like more than 10 views, right? But
Right. Hey guys, the Bills are like, no. We're laid back. We're a fun pod to listen to. But
yeah,
anyway. All right, so I have Buffalo over Miami. If Tua was playing, I would have made the big pick and said Miami
you
over
have to.
Buffalo.
It's a homer pick. You have no
Right.
you have
But with a third string quarterback, I'm not stupid. Especially if DeMar Hamlin's going to be at that game, there's no way on God's green earth we're going in there and beating them.
yeah.
So, Buffalo over Miami. I have the Bengals over the depleted Ravens. They're not winning anything without Lamar. I have the Chargers over the Jags. This was hard, but I didn't want like all of the home teams to win. I think there's going to be one away team that wins in the AFC. So I think the Chargers beat the Jaguars. Um, and in the NFC, I have Niners over the Seahawks. I think that'll be a good game, closer than people think. Vikings over the Giants.
Okay.
Daniel Jones has to prove it to me. And sorry, but I have the Cowboys over the Bucks.
Hey, I understand. Um, so I also have the Bills over the Dolphins. Um, I love the underdog. Unfortunately, the underdog is a little too far under for
Mm-hmm.
me to make
Oh, the spread is ridiculous.
an educated pick. I have the Bengals over the Ravens. Um, real quick, the disrespect to sign Roquan to 100 million and not sign Lamar Jackson is crazy too.
Bro,
And
I
Roquan
saw
is a
that.
dog. Roquan is a dog.
He is a
Without
dog, but
him,
an off.
they were bottom five defense. With them, they're like top five. And I get it. You got to sign
But
somebody that helps your team like that, but disrespect is crazy. Um, that yeah. And then
Lamar did Lamar did that LeBron meme where he has the sunglasses on in the press conference and he just grabs his bag and leaves.
yeah, he should.
That's
He should absolutely do that and take his ass to Miami.
bro.
Um,
That speed. Okay, I don't even want to get started. Continue.
I have Jacksonville for the simple fact that I hate Staley's coaching style, and I I think I want him gone. I don't. I'm not even invested in the Chargers. He's pissed me off for like 5 years. I want him out of there. He plays like it's Madden, and his conversion rate is like kind of terrible. He's lost so many games with terrible decisions. I don't
And
know how.
also, they played their starters in a meaningless game last week until almost the fourth quarter, and like Mike Williams got hurt. They had Keenan Allen out there until the fourth quarter. Why? I wouldn't have even played him.
Yeah, it's
Keenan
coaching
Allen's one
decisions.
cut away from out for the year. Like bonehead.
Yeah, and then going to the NFC, I actually have the Niners winning by a landslide. I think not a landslide, but comfortably at least. I think the difference in talent of roster is just too great. Um, even with the rookie quarterback, I mean, again, there's just too many weapons and a great defense. And Seattle's a great Cinderella story, but even those stories come to an end.
Midnight
Uh,
hits.
I have the Vikings over the Giants. Again, I think it's a talent of roster thing. And it could take the Giants play scrappy. You never know. Kirk Cousins is also known for blowing it, but he's got too much talent around him. I think the Vikings managed to do what they need to do, and then Brady's never lost to the Cowboys in the playoffs. I don't think, or something crazy like that. So as a homer, I have us winning that game and then getting fucked up the next week. Um, but yeah, we'll see. And then let's go ahead and do the divisional round.
All right. So divisional round, I have the Chiefs. So if the way I'm picking, the Chargers would play the Chiefs, the Bengals would play the Bills.
Right.
I think the Chiefs beat the Chargers. And this game, Bills Bengals, was going back and forth. Um, and I just think with the emotion, I think the Bills will take the game. And so I think it's going to be Chiefs Bills in the AFC Championship game in a neutral site, which they just announced will be in Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta.
And then the NFC.
Oh, sorry.
No,
The
you're good.
NFC, I think, talk about a landslide. I think the Niners will kill the Vikings. Um, and I think the Eagles will beat the Cowboys.
Um, so I have the Jags playing the Chiefs. I think that it's not going to be very close. I think Trevor Lawrence is turning into that guy. And next year
He
they'll
is.
have Calvin Ridley. So next year I'm really
He's going to
interested.
take he took a huge jump, but he's going to take a tremendous jump
Another one,
next year.
yeah. And I like it for him. I do. So I got the Chiefs there. And then I was also torn, but I think playing at a neutral site is going to benefit Cincinnati more than I think it's going to hurt Buffalo more than it benefits Cincinnati. And for that reason, I think Cincinnati will win just because the idea of the neutral site is kind of like it's weird
I
to me. I
I
feel like
forgot
things off.
I forgot they were going to have a neutral site. I forgot Buffalo, and
Does it
that's a
does it make you
that's
sway
a very
your
good point. Um, it does, but I'm gonna stick with my pick just because that's the pick I made. Plus, that's the pick I made in way back in the
you
beginning.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with Buffalo to
Um
win that game.
fair enough. And then on the other side, I have the Niners also beating the Vikings. I think that's where Kirk Cousins is going to turn into Burke Buzzins, and that's a
It's prime time, man. Kirk don't
yeah,
play
yeah.
good in prime time.
And then I have the Bucks going against Jalen Hurts and company, and I think Jalen Hurts is going to get revenge from us knocking them out the year.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. Um, and just because I'm pretty passionate about this, I think Mahomes is going to prove why he's the greatest quarterback in the league still, and finally get over that Bengals hump that he struggles with.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna get it done and go back to the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
And the NFC, as much as I hate to put a rookie quarterback through, I don't think that there's a better roster head to toe than the San Francisco 49ers. So I have the Niners and I have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
And I think the neutral site in this AFC Championship game actually benefits Buffalo because I feel like Buffalo wasn't going to get the 1 seed anyway. So really, the Chiefs are getting cheated out of a AFC Championship game at home. And I think Buffalo beats the Chiefs. Talk about getting over a hump. The Chiefs have sent Buffalo home. I feel like the last two playoffs, and I think finally the Bills kind of put it over the top. And Josh Allen gets to his first Super Bowl.
Just because I'm
Uh,
I'm I'm not completely sure how it works. So the neutral site is only involved with
Buffalo,
Buffalo.
Kansas City, and Cincinnati.
So if it's Kansas City and Cincinnati, is it still neutral?
That I no, I think it is because they made an announcement saying that the AFC Championship game is going to be played at
Regardless,
versus
as
right.
long as it's
So
one
I
of these teams, one of those three.
right, and I think
Okay.
it's going. I think whether it's Cincinnati or Buffalo, I believe it's going to be at the neutral site.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
quote me on it, but I think that's how it is. But I think Buffalo is going to get into the Super Bowl. NFC. This one I debated for a while. You said 49ers from head to toe have one of the best rosters. I think the Eagles are right up there as far as having a head to toe roster. However, I still have doubts on Jalen Hurts. And that San Francisco 49ers defense is disciplined, fast, and they're the best defense in
If
the league. Those
if Jalen Hurts beats the Niners, will you then have any doubts left, or will that just
Now,
okay?
Jalen Hurts asserts himself, gets himself in the Super Bowl, beats the 49ers defense, pay him this
Even
offseason.
if he's
He's your
terrible
guy.
in the Super Bowl,
If he loses in the Super Bowl, he loses in the Super Bowl. There's some good
there's
quarterbacks
always
that
a
have
losing
lost.
quarterback.
Dan Marino got destroyed in the Super Bowl when he played the 49ers. Sometimes you run into a beast. Mahomes is that beast for
So
you.
in
The
order for
Bills are that.
Hurts to be
In my mind, with this season, get them to the Super Bowl. You can beat every NFC team here, even the 49ers. You can beat them, get to the Super Bowl. But my prediction, I think, even though Brock Purdy's a rookie, that 49ers defense, I think, is good enough to get them in there. So I think the 49ers are going to get to the Super Bowl.
so yeah, Buffalo versus San Francisco.
Yes.
All right. That I feel like that's going to be a common theme. Obviously the foremost or the two most popular teams are probably going to be the Chiefs and probably the Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills on the AFC, and then
Right.
the NFC is going to probably just be between the Eagles and 49ers.
Yeah. I don't see any team contesting really, unless Brady gets hot.
Even then, we don't have enough. I don't feel
Right.
like. So who's your Super Bowl champion, Ryan?
I am going to stick with my guns. I've been preaching it all year. I think Buffalo will finally get their first Super Bowl, and I think Josh Allen will be the Super Bowl MVP. I think as good as the 49ers defense is, I don't think Brock Purdy is enough to keep up with Buffalo's offense. So I think it would
That's a
be like
fair
a
statement.
31-21 kind of victory for Buffalo.
Um, I have the Chiefs and the Niners, and it's really similar to what you said. I've seen Mahomes do things that really don't get done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of the people that I said it earlier in the year. I really thought Mahomes was gonna I didn't say he was gonna be bad, but you would see a drop off in production with Tyreek Hill gone, and I couldn't be more wrong. His numbers this year are insane as ever, and their defense does enough to win games.
Yep.
And it's tough. It's tough. There's three really good quarterbacks in the AFC, but I think
Yep.
Mahomes is king.
He is.
And
Until someone dethrones him, he is.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
it's hard for me to go against somebody who I just see make the impossible possible.
Mm-hmm. But
So
that AFC's set for a long time with
oh
Burrow,
my God, it's
Allen,
gonna be
and
great.
Mahomes.
And
You
then you
got to
have
get
Herbert. You
somebody.
still have Herbert. You have Trevor Lawrence coming up. It's crazy. The AFC
You
is
got Tua.
yeah, we have to.